We're going to walk you through the installation of the J&L oil separator for your Lincoln Continental. Including the J&L oil separator kit is a fully assembled oil separator with quick connect fittings, a mounting bracket, mounting screws, a mounting bolt. And the tools you're going to need for this installation is a 10mm socket, extension, a ratchet, a 15mm wrench, Phillips head screwdriver, and a clip puller tool. Let's get started. Our first step, we need to remove our engine cover. There's one 10mm nut here fastening the cover. We're going to need to remove that. And then pull up on the cover. And there, it's in two grommets. It's in one here and one here. So just pull up and set the cover to the side. Next, we need to remove our PCV line. This is line here shaped like a horseshoe or U. Underneath this fitting, there's a little blue tab. You're going to pull that fitting towards the driver's side of the car and just pull up on it. I'll show you that closer here in a second. Next one, rotate around, same style disconnect, and pull off. These are those tabs, so you pull it like that. Don't force it, it only needs a little bit. If you push it too far, it will break. Next, this wiring harness here, there is a push pin that is down onto the motor mount. You're going to take your clip puller tool, you're going to put it underneath that pin and just wiggle the pin out of the hole, like so. Now we're going to prep our oil separator for installation. Take your mounting bracket, the oil separator, line up the two logos, and then fasten the bracket to the oil separator with the supplied screws. Okay, back at the vehicle. When we pulled this clip out of this hole, we exposed this threaded hole. We're going to use the supplied bolt. You're going to go on the back side of this harness. Go and put your bolt through your bracket, and then you're going to want to start this by hand. And get that as tight as you can with just your fingers, and we'll tighten it up once we get the engine cover reinstalled. All right, now we need to make our connections. So obviously the short connection here is going to go to the intake manifold. I do want to let you know that all these fittings move. So if this fitting is facing the wrong direction, just twist it. Sometimes they could be pretty stiff to move initially, depending on how long the unit's been in the box, but they will break free and they rotate 360 degrees. So first, we're going to make that connection there. And then the same thing on your connection to your PCV, this longer hose. You'll notice the way this hose is routed, it's using the natural curvature of the hose, because this hose is on reels when we get it, in bulk. So use that to your advantage to run your hoses nice and neat. And also, this is very close to this harness. So this harness, has some flex, has some give. So don't be afraid to push down on that harness a little bit to kind of push it down below the PCV, because our connection is going to go right on top. And then once all this gets hot, it's all going to relax. So just get that fastened into place. And now we need to refit our engine cover. So refitting the engine cover, you'll notice there's a ball stud here and a ball stud here. There are two grommets on the back of the cover. So align those in your oil fill cap, and it should fall right onto place. And then we just need to secure the cover with that 10mm nut we removed earlier. Snug that up. And then lastly, you'll notice this harness is going to want to touch this bracket, but this harness is very, very flexible. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push against this harness to kind of straighten it out, and that's going to buy me some space from my bracket here. If you want to buy this plenty of space, obviously you could fasten this, maybe a piece of rubber hose on it if you're worried about it. But as long as there's an 1/8 to 1/4 inch of clearance between the bracket and the harness, it shouldn't cause any issues with chafing or anything. It just needs an air gap. So once we have that where we want it, we're going to tighten up our 15mm bolt. This is easiest with a wrench. And you're going to want to hold the bracket as you secure it. And that bolt, it has serrated teeth on the bottom of it, so it's going to bite into the bracket and tighten up real nicely. So now that we have that done, again, just check your harness. Here's a closer look at our oil separator. Just want to make sure you have clearance here from, this is the computer of the car, so make sure you have an air gap there, as we don't want this oil separator rubbing on that. And then at your harness, again, if you push and straighten out this harness, you want an air gap between the harness and the bracket. Now to service the oil separator, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the 2 mounting screws. You could also remove the entire assembly, but being that bolt is a little tight down there to get to, I find this a little easier. So the screws are out, and then we're going to push the entire oil separator assembly out of the area, and now I can even adjust that hose and I can unscrew it. You're going to want to be careful if this is full of oil, of course. And then you would empty it, and then when reinstalling with it empty, it'll be even easier because you can bring it further up. When retightening it, just get it to the base of the O-ring and then give it about another 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. If you over tighten it, it will be very, very difficult to remove later. So, and then you're going to slide it back into place, put your screws back in, start them both by hand, and then tighten them up with your screwdriver. These screws, if you ended up losing one or need one, they are available on our website, but they are a very common machine screw that you can buy at just about any Home Depot or Lowe's. They are an M4 by 0.7 by 10mm. Luckily, these 3 liters don't push a ton of blow by through them. They're typically about 1 ounce every 1,000 miles, and figure our oil separator holds 3. So it's not something that you're going to have to babysit, but it is something you're going to have to be aware of. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out via email and comment on this video or give us a call, and we'd be happy to help you. Take care.